And we are live. Back again, another episode of Off-Centered. Myself, Michael Ham, Neo Cards and Comics, and Flippin' W. Steve probably will not make it tonight. He's got some personal things that he actually just texted me. He's not out yet. He's not out yet. He's doubtful, but we'll see if he's able to get in the game. We'll find out.
As predicted.
1 yard line play, baby.
Can't help himself. He can't help himself. What's going on, guys? How we doing?
I'm doing good.
He just wants to come in with some more bad NBA takes, but he wants to do it later in the show.
He's working it up. He's working all the narratives out.
Have to.
Ham, what's new in your world? Do you catch anything here? It's snowing here.
I caught a redfish 2 days ago off the back of the river over at work. Just messing around. It was nice because I was sight fishing it. So I got to throw it out in front. Two fish were coming along. Gave it a little jiggle. First one missed it. Second one hit it. Let him run around for a little while to make himself feel useful, I guess. And then I let him go.
Oh, you let him go. Was it not big enough?
Oh, no, he's probably big enough. I was at work. I didn't feel like dealing. I literally went out there to get some vitamin D and some sunlight, throw out for about 15 minutes, and just happened to be fish there.
You got to have a cooler ready, Ham.
Oh, I always have a cooler ready. I filleted one right there on the back of the thing and started to cook it inside before. So
that just means he didn't actually catch it.
I downloaded the video from our actual cameras outside at the building.
Is your face in it?
You recognize his hair from behind.
It's your coworker. It's your coworker. Your coworker caught it.
Yeah, it was the office secretary.
It's the IT guy.
Neo, what's new in your world?
Not a whole hell of a lot. We got like -4 degree temperatures here. Do you get snow in Raleigh that often? Is that like a thing, or is it rare for you guys?
It's usually once or twice a year, and we got like 6 inches today. It was wild. It was snowing nonstop.
Does that just like shut down the world when you get a couple inches of snow because you guys don't know what to do?
School's closed. Yeah, I had left a Coors Light out by the hot tub, and my wife was like, "You should go and like get that or whatever." I was like, "You know what? It's gonna snow today. I think that'd be kind of a cool picture to have like the snow coming down on the silver bullet."
Did the mountains turn blue?
And the mountains in the background. I wish.
Did they turn blue? Don't they turn blue when they get cold?
I don't think I've got the special can. Maybe though. I should go check it out. All the cans do that? I should probably go check.
I don't know. So. Can we get like a live react? You can go get it later off the deck. Bring it.
That'll be tomorrow's video. That'll be some B-roll for tomorrow. I do have a story to tell about a card that I ended up buying. There's kind of a roller coaster of a story that goes with it, but we're going to tell that later. We have a special guest tonight. I'm going to bring him on here. Just first going to say hello to Grim77. What's going on? Pick 6 cards. What's going on? Who dat?
Pick 6.
Hey, everyone's 0-0 now. We just got a new head coach. It's time. What's going on, Derek?
You also have to draft Arch Manning.
Yeah.
Not time yet.
We've got to tank. We have to tank for the next couple of years. Michael Stone, what's going on? David French in the house. Discussion topic, sticker books from childhood. Okay, interesting.
I have MLB sticker books still from my childhood. I don't know where they are, but I still have them.
How do you guys feel about PSA 8s? What number do you guys feel is the lowest you'd accept in your graded slab collection? Leanings towards for vintage Pokemon. I just bought a vintage Pokemon card in a PSA 8, so I'm with you there.
I think if you're going to try and get one within
I have a 6 right here, so I guess I'm fine with lower than 8s.
I like, again, it's based on how expensive the card really is and what you really want to put into it. I think at Pokemon you can have a lower grade card and still be happy with it.
Well, in our Discord, we have some Pokemon Jedis that have been doing this a while. Neo's been doing it for a couple of years, but there's some other Jedis that give us tips, and they claim that 7s and 8s are the way to go. 9s and 10s super expensive, and frankly there's just not a huge difference between like 8s and 9s and 10s in Pokemon is what they say. So they're basically buying all the 7s and 8s they can get their hands on for important vintage stuff. Anyway, not financial advice, do what you want, but I'm buying 7s and 8s. I'm listening to them. All right, Delco CNC, what's going on? Card Vibe, evening. 28 Relics, Zach Pierce, Munson Trout Collector, and with that we won't leave him back there for any longer. Sorry about that, Brad. How we doing?
Doing great, guys. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
All right, Neo, this is direct. This is your
you want me to run this portion of the show?
Portion of the show, you take the mic.
Brad, Brad, for those that don't know who you are, what is it that you do in the hobby?
What
Yeah, so
do you do here?
What exactly is it that you do here?
Are you?
So believe it or not,
We're not with Doge, so don't worry. You don't. Your job's not on the line. Go ahead.
So believe it or not, I left a 20-year insurance career in August to be a full-time card show promoter. So insurance was a great way to put food on the table, but anytime you can live the dream and work full-time in the hobby, you got to go chase it, right? So I started a card show called the Shipshewana Card Fest and on Labor Day of 2020, and been blessed to watch it grow and become a somewhat regional event, I guess, at this point. And we keep growing and growing. And we actually expanded into a 50,000 square foot facility where we have a show coming up on 2/28 and 3/1. The exciting thing about the building is that it's a 100,000 square foot building, so we can keep growing. But yeah, almost 400 tables. Started at 44 tables, and now we're up to 400. And it's super exciting and living the dream, working full time. But it's still a job, right? All the anxieties and stress are still there. It's just a topic that you love to deal with every day.
For the February show, what level of stress does weather play into it? Because you had a legendary show 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's our first show of the year is in the first weekend of March. And if you live in Indiana or the Midwest, I mean, that could be 65 and sunny, or that could be -8. It's such a great weekend to have a show. As you guys know, I've heard you guys talk about it on this particular program. First 2 quarters of the year are just absolutely tremendous to run card shows and have them. But I often tell people in my line of work, it's like putting on 4 or 5 weddings for your daughter. Like, you only have to be perfect 4 or 5 weekends a year, but you worry about everything, whether are people going to show up? Are the dealers going to be happy? So it's extremely stressful when the events actually arrive, but there's no greater feeling than, I always say, at 2:00 on the last day of the show, and you hit a home run. There's no greater feeling in the world because you delivered what you wanted to deliver. But the 2 nights before, I don't sleep.
I'm going to ask an uncomfortable question. So, of course, now we've got to throw in the scandal, the card show thefts and all the weird stuff. How many Uzis are you bringing to the show next week? And are you guys going to put like a Gatling gun on top of the roof, like just waiting for some idiot to come?
They have Amish enforcers.
Yeah, right.
The Amish Mafia. Wasn't there a reality show called like Amish Mob or something? What a great
show.
There
was an Amish Mafia show. There certainly was. It was the Pennsylvania Amish, not the Indiana Amish. So
okay. Yeah. Not as hardcore.
Well, I think the theft thing is a major thing. I mean, I don't want to push blame to the other side of the table or push responsibility to the other side of the table, but it starts with dealer security. But we certainly have a responsibility to provide the safest environment possible. So when we started the show 4 or 5 years ago and had 44 tables, the security was the biggest guy in the room, whoever the biggest dealer was in the room. Now we'll, at this particular show, have 4 or 5 security guards walking around with body cams. We've installed our own cameras in the venue. We even went old school for this one and have the smile, you're on camera signs that we have in a few different places. So we try to prevent it as much as possible. But man, so much of that falls on the dealer making really smart decisions and having a game plan in their head to keep their cards safe. Because I always say 99% of people that attend a card show are amazing, wonderful hobby crazies. And that's awesome. But it only takes the 1% to ruin your day. So we're going to do all that we can. And we hope that our dealers do all they can to keep it a safe environment for the cards.
What's your take on, I feel like there should almost be like, if you have a $10,000 or more card, let's say, like, why wouldn't you have, kind of like how Toys R Us, at the Toys R Us, you wanted to buy a video game, you had to pull the slip out. Like if you wanted to buy Mega Man 3, there wasn't a cartridge sitting there. There was like a little slip that you just brought up to the front counter. Then they went in the back and got the game. I almost kind of feel like we need that. Like, do we need to have $1 million showcase at a card show? I feel like that's just asking for trouble. You know, why not just have like a sign that says, hey, I've got 52 Topps Manals, ask me about them, you know, and I can ship it to you, whatever. I can work out a deal. I don't know. Like, it just seems like it's almost like it's like a diamond event. It's like a diamond show, jewelry show or something. It's like, you know, something bad's probably going to happen sometimes.
Well, this hobby is so, I don't know, it's a big word that I can't think of.
Tactile.
But tactile. It's so like we want to touch it, see it. And
Right.
vintage, eye appeal is everything, right? A PSA 3 is not always a PSA 3. So I just think our hobby lends itself to you got to have the cards there. Now, as a dealer, I think you do have to make smart decisions. If you're going to your local show, you know, there's probably certain inventory that you shouldn't take out. Now, the National, that's a show where you sell big cards, so I get it. But yeah, I think that we all need to do a lot more thinking about showcases and security, and realize that, unfortunately, again, that 1% can ruin your day, and we got to do all we can to protect ourselves.
The crazy part to me isn't so much the show, which I know stuff goes on there, but the real Wild West are the trade nights. Like, stuff is just everywhere at trade nights. Like, there's just cases on tables. Your stuff's getting passed around to 4 different people at the same time before you know what even happened.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems like the biggest area of opportunity for things to go sideways, is more the trade nights than the shows.
Yeah, we used to have a rule. You might remember, Neil. We used to have a rule that said no showcases at trade night. We kind of changed up our thing and said, you know, hey, don't bring a full dealer setup to trade night. Like, be courteous. Let people sit at the table with you. Don't take up the whole table. But if you want to have one showcase because you do have some bigger cards. Now, would I put out huge cards at a trade night? I wouldn't. But some people feel the need to do that. And if you want to bring in, you know, one showcase instead of laying them out, I kind of get it now, because that's the world we live in. But you're right. I would be super careful at trade nights. There's just so much activity, and there's a lack of organization there, because it is the Wild West. That's what makes it fun, but it also makes it a little bit tough to mitigate risk in that situation.
Any other shows that you're doing, Brad, outside of ships?
Yeah, so we do the 3 Shipshawana Card Fests a year. We try to make those 3 to 4 times a year, so they come across as events and not monthly card shows. We love our monthly card shows, but we want to make it like, hey, I have to go. There's not another Shipshawana show for 2 or 3 months, because we want to have big crowds and make sure we put on the big productions. But to your question, I am partnered up now with Card Collector 2. And it's been exciting for us. We are looking to expand in Ohio and do some really cool things out there. So I would say that outside of our 3 Shipshawana shows, our one show called In the Fort in Fort Wayne, Indiana, I could see us adding, I'll stop because it's a little confidential, but I could see us adding a pretty mega show in Ohio in the future here. So a lot to come on that. And you know, with Card Collector 2's crowd, that when we start talking about that, you won't be able to miss it.
Yeah, man, it seems
to be like that, Brad. Don't tease me.
Yeah, the Midwest, between like Ohio, Indiana, and PA. I mean, it just feels like, I know PA is not Midwest, but it just feels like there's a lot of action out in that part of the world, that part of the country. I'm in Raleigh. It's not quite the same in Raleigh. Not
yeah,
yet.
I mean, I've talked about a ton. I have like 50 card shows a weekend, it feels like, in Ohio. And, you know, I'll kind of lead you here, Brad. Your show location should not work. If you look at a map, no one would understand why it works in Shipshawana. Can you explain why it worked? Like I don't know if you got lucky or just the method behind the madness of how an Amish community in northern Indiana, for context, what is it? Like 30 minutes east of Notre Dame, maybe 45?
Yeah, it sits right on, we call it, if you're from Indiana, you call that area Michiana. It sits right on the Michigan-Indiana line by Notre Dame and places like that. There's no major city outside of South Bend. In fact, to fly to get to the show, I'm getting a lot of questions like that right now, because we do get a lot of folks from across the country, which is amazing. You got to either pay a lot of money to fly into South Bend or Fort Wayne, or you got to go to Detroit, Indy, or Chicago and make the 1.5, 2-hour drive in. But yeah, it's a town of 600 people, but there's something magical about that town. There's the Midwest's largest flea market is in that town. And when that thing is going at full tilt, it goes from a town of 600 people to a town of like 10,000 people. So it's a city built to host events, even though it doesn't make sense because it's a tiny town out in the middle of nowhere.
And you have it doesn't seem like you have a great regional location, but you do have a great regional location, because you just named it, Chicago, Indy, Detroit, Cleveland, Columbus, all within anywhere from a 2 to 4 hour drive. You pull from a very large field of attendees and dealers where you're situated at. Can't fly in real easy, but you could definitely drive in real easy outside of blizzards.
Yes, when we get the decent weather that we hope to have next weekend, it's a pretty easy drive. And like from Chicago, we set it right on the toll road, so it's a literally straight arrow 2-hour drive from Chicago. So I think that there's a little magic there. I also will give the state of Michigan and Ohio a lot of credit. I would say Indiana's a really good collector state, but it's not a crazy collector state. Northern Ohio and Michigan are just tremendous collecting states. They are crazy about the hobby. And I think that's a huge reason why we grew, is because we get supported so well from those two states.
Where do most of your dealers come from? Is it an even mix, or?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's kind of like a 30% Indiana, 30% Michigan, and then 30% over in Ohio. But for this show, we have a guy setting up that's from Sacramento. We have a guy coming down from Toronto, Canada to set up. Arizona, there's a guy coming to set up. So we're getting a little more regional, but mostly that 3-state area there. And I think that's what makes us unique, is that we see dealers in Shipshewana that you don't see other places.
But I've also run into dealers at ships that are at the national. Like, I mean, you guys do pull, like, you have national level vendors set up regularly. Yeah,
I always say I think our front few rows can compete with anyone, and I think there's real depth at the show. But I am super proud that those guys in the front, you'll see them at Burbank, you'll see them at Dallas, you'll see them at quite a few places like that. So we're lucky they'll come out in the Amish country and hang out with us.
What's the mix at ships? Do you have a lot of? Is it mostly sports? Is there a lot of Pokemon? Is there non-sports mixed in, or is it like, or has it changed? Over the last 6 months, year.
I would say it's changed a bit. We're super, and Neo, Rob, if you disagree, let me know, because you walk the show, whereas I'm trying to like herd cats the whole day, so I don't always get a lot of time to look at everything. But I would say modern football is super heavy, just like any show. Okay. And I would say we're like 15% vintage. And the thing that's really changed over the last year is we maybe had 3 Pokemon dealers in the whole place 2 years ago. And I think we'll be out of almost 400 tables, I think we'll be 30 to 40 tables that have strictly Pokemon. And this is the big change, another 25 to 30 tables that it's in their mix. Like, guys that have never had Pokemon cards at their table are bringing Pokemon this time.
Yeah, I'm seeing it at my shows too.
Yeah, what's it like in Tampa, Ham? Is it the same sort of thing, or what's the?
I'd say the Pokemon presence even bigger than that per percentile wise. I mean, it's a good 30% of our shows, if not sometimes 40.
Is it a lot of younger people that are taking part, or is it 40-year-olds that are buying Pokemon, vintage Pokemon slabs?
Pokemon, it crosses all the way through. You definitely see the younger people attracted to that. Even though we got a couple of young guys they walk around with their Zion case full of like $10,000 cards, and you're like, how are you even 12 yet? Like, are your parents here? I have no idea what's going on right now.
No,
they're sharks, man. They're sharks.
When I was a kid, the rich kids had like 20 Nintendo games. I had like 2. I would go to like Video 98 and rent a game for 2 days and then take, I was renting games, not buying Nintendo games. Mm-hmm. Today's kid, it's a whole different world. It's like a whole different level of rich kid these days.
Well, think about the rental process is kind of gone by the wayside. That entire process doesn't really exist anymore.
Brad, do you get any like dealer or attendee pushback on why are these non-sports cards coming into my sports card shows? Or are most people just like, whatever, like, this is where the money is, cool, or this is obviously popular, cool? Because I know you run into some old school thinking every once in a while on certain topics, but have you gotten any pushback at all from dealers or attendees on the TCG invasion?
Not yet. I mean, I think we're blessed that we have like a 300-400 table show. So, hey, there are 40 Pokemon tables, but I had been to a show recently. I'll leave nameless because it's a great show, but it was probably 45 tables and there were like 28 Pokemon tables. And I did hear some people, oh man, like, is this a Pokemon show or a sports card show? But, and I think with the crossover, people are starting to look at that. And I know my guys that buy the retail wax still, they're really after prismatic. They're buying that up. So there's a little more crossover than normal. So I think as long as you have a fair amount of sports there, or the 75% of it's sports, that usually people dig that there's another crowd coming in to, and that's my appeal as a promoter is if I can keep my sports guys coming, but then start appealing to this whole other genre. I would even like to add comic books if there was like enough call for that. As a promoter, I just love bringing in a whole nother crowd and having more places to promote the show.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, is because it is pretty much a different audience usually. I mean, there's some crossover there, but there's also just like Pokemon TCG people, and they don't mess with sports cards and vice versa. But for you, it's kind of like a Comic-Con. When you go to a Comic-Con, there's people that go there just strictly for the cosplay stuff. They don't go for comic books. They don't go. They might go to meet like their favorite artist or writer. Like, so you have a variety of different dimensions of people that are there to do different things. And really, maybe that's what a trading card show ends up being down the road, is you have a whole different variety, all these different things that's suits all the different audiences. But it's good for you because you could have 1,000 tables or whatever. It doesn't matter either way.
I'm trying to do my homework as a promoter because I was, not to give away how old I am, but I was born in the late 70s. So like Pokemon, I was just too old when it came out to totally get into it. And I've been trying to do my homework and figure some of this out so I'm more knowledgeable. So I'll plug Rob's channel, his TCG channel he started. I've been watching that, trying to learn some things. There's a guy, Chase the Right Price, out of Southern Michigan. He has a tremendous videos he does on it. So I'm trying to learn what Blastoise and Charizard.
Well, the funny thing that
I'm trying to learn
about Neo, and I would joke, like, because it's so weird. It's like all the YouTubers, the Pokemon YouTubers that are investing channels in quotation marks, all they talk about is new product, buying all the new product coming out, buying that. And that's fine. Like, that might be fine, but it's like vintage is trash. Like vintage is like, nobody's going to care about that. And I'm just looking at this and I'm like, I feel like it's 1990 sports cards where like everyone's buying Don Mattingly and they're buying Greg Jeffries and they're not spending a few extra bucks for Willie Mays or Mickey Mantle, which would be like, the 1999 stuff or whatever, some of that early 2000s Pokemon. Not that people don't buy that stuff, but it's just funny. It's not represented very much at all on YouTube. All the Pokemon, investing, speculating stuff is all around new product and modern cards. It's really interesting.
So I have a question for you guys. I used to be told by my Pokemon dealers like a year or so ago, yeah, the great thing about Pokemon is if a guy needs the card, he doesn't really negotiate. He just buys it because he needs the card. With Pokemon getting so popular, is that changing? Is like the negotiating and flipping thing coming into this? Or is it still a super heavy collector based? We'll just pay what we need to pay to finish our deck or whatever we're up to.
I haven't seen that yet, but I wouldn't be surprised. Because as more sports people come in, they're going to be more about, hey, can I get that at 80%, bro?
Yeah.
But I also don't know if the dealers are going to budge, depending on, it may even depend on the dealer too. If you have someone that's a hardcore Pokemon dealer, they might tell you to go jump in a lake. But if it's someone that's more on the sports card side of things, they might be more like, oh, okay, cool. Like I made 10% on this, whatever. I'll turn the money over and go on to the next thing. Mm-hmm. So it might really vary table to table.
Sports card people will squeeze them because there's no numbered Pokemon cards. So literally, like and what's crazy is just the demand is just so high. So you can have a card that literally has like 5,000 PSA 10s. It's a $2,000 Charizard card. Like a sports card person's gonna be like, all right, well, this is available. I can get this. So they're gonna try to nickel and dime. But the Pokemon collector base is insane. It's just, it's wild. It's. I don't know. I don't want to say it's bigger than sports cards as far as like the collector base, because I don't have any sort of data to back it up. But the fact that you don't have any sort of chase cards, like one of one, I know you have, different types of chase cards with Pokemon, but it's not the same. You don't have
with Pokemon. I don't get the singles market is what I don't get at all in Pokemon. Because when I was like, we recently just got a show where it's a non-sports card show, video games, comic books. We've had 2 now, but they're only doing them every like 3 months. And they're packed and they're busy. So at some point, I'm sure it's going to be monthly. But I'm walking around looking at the tables. I do a thing where I slow roll cases and look at cards very specifically. And I'll see the same card, the next dealer over, $20 or $30 cheaper for the same PSA 10 of the same $200 card. And I'm like, does anybody look at the other table next to them? Do they care? I don't even know. And then I see all these cards. I'm like, how do you figure out which one you feel you need or want or have to have? There's multiple all over the room. It's not like I can go into the room and find a Walter Payton rookie card, let alone 2, 3, 4, 10, 20, 30 of them. But at a Pokemon show or anything like that, I can find Charizards nonstop. So it's like, why? I don't see where this is like, I have to have one of those because I never see it, because I always see them and they're always available everywhere.
But demand stays high on a lot of the cards.
I don't get it.
Don't you know, Ham? You got to catch them all.
You got to catch them all.
I catch them all in a box, and I'm gonna give it to you for more money, and you can go play that game.
Well, the other part too, I was joking about on the channel, I think today, was like, it's the same characters. It's literally like each set, it's the same characters. Now, granted, sometimes it's different characters that, some are not included or whatever, but you're talking like 25 years where like all the sets, it's the same characters, each time, and they still sell out every single time. And it's just people buying like the design, the art that they like, whatever it is. It's the artwork. Yeah, but don't like that's like insane.
And I think I get it where the point of maybe them talking about the more modern version cards versus the older cards is because of the artwork now.
Yeah, they are saying that.
And now those bigger cards are other characters or character types that they were never used to ever seeing. It's like, we always get the Patrick Mahomes inserts and never the Mike Evans. It's the same thing.
What it is, it's kind of almost like Downtowns and, Kabooms, but they're Pokemon cards because they're not numbered, but they're like SIRs. They're rare artwork cards.
Well, I mean, I don't know. From that show, the guy had 16 PSA 10 prismatic Umbreons in the case. I mean, I'm like, well, I guess this card's not rare.
Yeah, and I totally get it. Sorry, Brad. Yeah, Brad just threw in $5 for us to basically just be quiet. I totally get it. I get it, man. We won't talk the whole time about Pokemon cards. We're just trying to understand
Pokemon.
Trying to understand it. It's just this phenomenon that I can't wrap my head around, but I'm buying it. That's it. Yeah. Also, shout out to Keep My Mind Preoccupied for the $2 super sticker. Thanks very much. Appreciate it. Appreciate you. All right, Brad, sorry, we've had you on. What else can you share? What else would you like to share about ships? What should we know?
Yeah, I mean, and I'll try not to sales pitch you too hard here, but this one's a new format. We used to have a pretty epic trade night the night before where we'd get 700 to 800 collectors in the room, and it was like a pre-party for the show. And it got to the point where we were like, we should just literally have a show. And so this is our first 2-day show. We're doing I stole it from the National, best card show in the world. We're doing a 4 to 8 sneak peek night for this particular one on 2/28, the Friday night before. And then we'll have our trade night. We set off, we bought 50,000 square feet, rented 50,000 square feet for the show. We rented 10,000 square feet. And loaded it with tables, and our friends at LetX are sponsoring it, and we'll have a 2-hour trade night. So you can go hang with the dealers for 4 hours, head over to trade night, do deals with other collectors, and then hopefully come back in the morning and hang out with us all day on Saturday like they're used to. So new format. We're excited about that. Gives people more of a reason to drive that far if they can get 2 days of action at a show rather than just one. So we're excited on that format. Obviously, it won't be perfect because it's the first time we're in a new building with a new format, but we've worked really, really hard on this one. When for 8 months, all you've done is plan for one show, it better be fairly decent or Ryan might tell me to find a different job.
Brad, how much push-pull have you had with dealers over the years on trade nights?
Yeah.
Are most dealers like, oh yeah, I get it. This is cool. I understand. Or a lot still like, wait, they get to set up for free for like 2 hours? What the hell is this?
I'm going to grab a water. Keep going. Be right back.
So I would say there's 3 types of dealers, and this isn't age related, honestly. I mean, there a little bit of age plays into it, but there's the dealer that doesn't like trade nights and never will. There's the one that used to not like trade nights, figured it out that they can get maybe even better deals there, stock up for the next day. And then there's the guys that go to Dallas and Burbank and go all the other places and get that how paramount trade nights are for shows. I honestly think in the next 2 years, how shows handle trade nights will determine how successful they are going forward. You have to embrace it and control it as much as you can. And there's a real fine line, and we're still trying to figure out where that line lives. You cannot dismiss a trade night. You got to have it. It's a major, major pull for younger collectors, especially. But you also have to find ways to respect your dealers and make sure they fund the show. It's just the economics of a show. They fund the whole thing. So you do have to respect it. But I will say there's been some dealers in their 50s and 60s who hated it. And I said, just come and give it a try. And they, at the end of the night, said, I can't believe what I bought. This is better buying than even at the show. And I'll resell this tomorrow. So I would say, man, if you're a dealer, embrace it. But if you're a show promoter, have it, promote it, but figure out a way the best you can to control it. I think the National has a very tough task on their hand, because if you guys were there, the basement was like a second show. I mean, the VIP basement area was like
there's guys setting up one guy had like a wall of wax. One guy had like a wall of boxes.
Yeah, it was basically just they just moved the show downstairs.
That's how not to handle it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I promote a show. I'm wrapping my hands around how to figure it all out, but I know it's important, and I know you can't totally control it or you take all the fun out of it, but we're figuring that out show by show, and we'll keep pressing the levers. But we know it's important and always be a part of Shipshawana, because if you're driving out to the middle of nowhere with a town of 600 people and Amish buggies flying around, you better have a heck of a trade night to go along with the show.
True.
I don't know. It sounds like all the entertainment I need.
That was always the appeal for me as someone driving 4 hours.
Amish and buggies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do I get extra value out of the drive? You know what I mean? Like if I'm going to come for the show and it's 4 hours there and 4 hours back, just the show day is like on the verge of being enough. But then the trade night puts it over the top, where it's like, oh, okay, I can come the night before, I get the trade night, I can justify the hotel room, and I get the show the next day. Or now, you're a day and a half show now. But and the other aspect of it too is, people sell a lot of cards at trade night. They're more likely to spend that money the next day in the show. Like if you're a dealer, if you can't see how me walking around on Friday night and selling $1,000 worth of cards, and now I have an extra $1,000 in my pocket for Saturday morning, isn't a benefit to the show at a macro level, then you're just not seeing the big picture, in my opinion.
I've always told people that the older dealers who, like I said, I wouldn't put an age on it, and here I keep saying that, but for the dealers that don't like trade nights, I've always said their interpretation is people make the money I should have made, and then they leave and they never come back. I would say 80% of that, I'm making this number up, I would say 80% of that money comes back the next day and gets dumped right back into the show. And that the show is a whole ecosystem. Like the collectors buy from you, you buy back from them. That's how this whole thing works. But again, there are lines where you got to watch, because again, the dealers do fund. They pay for the building. Our costs went up probably 8x over what the show used to cost to go into this new building. And so we do now on Friday night for the sneak peek, we charge an admission. We keep the Saturday show completely free, but we feel like one of the reasons people will be okay with the admission to help us offset the cost is because not only do they get a 4-hour show, but they get a 2-hour trade night. So I just think shows have to be creative like that and figure out ways to make it work for them.
One last question for you before we get you out of here, because you would probably have a good perspective on this, and you just talked about the ecosystem. What impact over the last couple of years has repackers / whatnot resellers, whatever term you want to throw on there, what sort of impact have you seen on the shows just from them alone?
I would say it was an interesting switch I saw last year. I would say 2023 and 2024 were just like repack heavy. As a promoter, I don't mind the repackers because they put so much money into the show. I can see as a collector, if you let those guys in before you're able to get there, how it would upset you and you would think they have too much impact on a show. But as a promoter, you want your collectors happy and your dealers happy. But the point I was going to make was somewhere last year, there was this switch, and it was really cool to see. There were still repackers coming around, though I think what's happened is instead of these repackers going to every show, the dealers are so in tune, some of them, with what the repackers want, that they're just buying for the repacker and meeting with the repacker later in the week. Like now 100%. What I'm seeing, and I think is a really cool thing in the hobby, there are guys that are 17, 18, 25 years old that are buying up low end, mid end, and they're using them for their whatnot streams. And I really saw that switch last year where I think there's as much whatnot young entrepreneur money in my shows at least, is there is repack money, and it used to be heavy repack money. And so I think that's actually been a healthy dynamic that I've seen.
So the repack buying still happening. It's just happening on the guise of I walk up to dealer table and he's like, hey, I want to, what are you selling? And instead of it going into his own showcase, it's just basically getting set in a pile and going, okay, cool. This is all going over to Dustin's upside down repack. I'm going to meet with him next week and dump this all on him.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just don't see I don't see the 50 guys walking around making stacks on people's tables anymore. You might see 10 of those guys instead of 50. But I know, because I'm such good friends with a lot of the dealers, that they just know the appetite of the repackers now, to the point they're just setting aside a pile. They're buying throughout the show instead of the show getting wiped out.
Back in the day, like when it was at the peak of its powers, like, maybe like a year and a half, go back like a year and a half. You don't have to get super specific, but roughly how much money do you think repackers in general would inject into the room on a Saturday?
I mean, I would say I'm getting real specific here. Just the show, I remember looking around at like 8:30 in the morning and thinking, there's towers of cards on almost every showcase in here. And that's how I always know repackers, because it's towers. They'll have 5 or 6 towers of cards, and they're doing their Post-it notes on the back of them. And man, I feel like, Rob, that at that May 2023 show, that like 40% of the money spent that day was repacker money. Like, it just was, I felt this thing is taking over the entire hobby. And since then, I feel like it's evened out a little bit more. The dynamic has changed a little bit. I'm not saying repacker money is not super important. It is, again, to the whole ecosystem of how this thing works. But I don't think they're coming in at 7:30 in the morning and wiping out shows. Now, I've heard there's other shows where it's still super prevalent. Like, Nashville's a tremendous show, but I've heard like Nashville is like, that still is a big thing where there's a lot of money floating around like that.
I wonder if you're seeing a little less of it because of the non-ease of access. Like a repacker can't fly in on Saturday morning, walk across the street to the show and fly back out at lunch. You know what I mean?
Could be that, or the ability to do multiple shows. Like, you could hit a Los Angeles show and a Las Vegas show same weekend. If you come to Shipshawana, you're pretty devoted to the trip.
Yeah. So it's like they're getting more efficient. They're like, we don't want to spend the money to travel anymore, so we'll just have the dealers do the legwork for us and just give them a couple extra percent.
I really think that's happening. Like, I really think that's a big thing of what's going on right now.
Crazy. All right, Brad, we'll let you get out of here. Good luck. I'll see you next week, blizzard permitting.
Hey,
I'll see you in a little over a week.
My iPhone app says 44 and sunny, and the iPhone app has never been wrong.
Yeah.
So we're good.
Yeah, that thing never steered me wrong 2 years ago when it said, you're fine, don't worry about it. And then I had the worst drive of my life for 45 minutes.
It's going to be 77 and sunny next Friday and Saturday. Come on out.
Yeah, for the Memorial Day one.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate any opportunity to talk about the show.
Thanks,
Later,
Brad.
See you next
Take
week.
care, man.
Take care.
See ya. All right. I heard that we might have Flippin' Steve joining us here soon. We'll have to see. He's unpredictable at times. Yep. I wanted to answer this question because there's a lot of news stuff going around about CT scanning. Obviously, there's an issue with people with CT scanning looking for one-of-ones and that sort of a thing. I actually have kind of an opposite take when it comes to certain sealed product for this. So if I'm going to buy, we were talking about Pokemon cards earlier, booster boxes. Somebody said they're buying booster boxes. If we go to, let's say it's it's a first edition box, or it's a jungle box, or whatever. It's a fossil box going back to 1999 and it's sealed. I'm not spending $5,000 or whatever it is for that box without a CT scan, because I want to see that the stuff inside is actually the stuff. I don't want it to be a Logan Paul G.I. Joe cards type situation, or a Neo opening a 90 MU box and it's whatever Dungeons and Dragons cards or whatever the hell it is. So, and this kind of goes, so it's kind of an opposite thinking. If I want to keep that thing sealed, because if you go back and you're looking at, especially too, when I think about like vintage packs, I'll throw out like 53 Topps baseball. I want the Willie Mays card out of that. If there was a 53 Topps wax pack, baseball pack, I would actually just want to know that the thing is authentic and that that it hasn't been tampered with and there's actually 53 Topps cards inside of it before I actually buy it. And I know that's kind of opposite thinking, but there's not a one of one. There's not a black finite one of one. There's not a logo man. I understand you could, I guess, get a high grade Maze, 53 Topps, whatever. But for me personally, I would not be buying that pack to open it. I would be buying it as its own collectible. If the sealed item is its own collectible and the box has its own value and there's history behind it, then that to me is a different thing than flawless cases that they're just now bringing out. Where you can, I don't know, I guess maybe you can scan it or whatever the hell kind of, or prison boxes or whatever it is. So I think it really depends case by case. Obviously, CT scanning is not a good thing. If it's used for good, like what I just talked about, I think it could be a value add. The problem is we don't know how it's being used. It's probably not being used that way. So in a lot of cases.
And I think too, like a lot of the stuff that we're buying currently, like modern Pokemon, the value prop's it's not worth it to scan the CT box. Like even maybe a box of Evolving Skies, what you could say it's worth it. But other than that, I don't think that there's currently a modern box that's worth scanning because you're looking at like,
yeah, and I would think everything
strikes maybe a $400 box. Are you really going to spend $75, $100, whatever it costs to scan a $400 box? It's just not worth it. Yeah, all these guys, they're 12, 13, 1400. Maybe then it becomes a little bit of a different story.
Yeah, all these boxes when they come out, they're all between $100 and $200 booster boxes, like at release. That's basically where they're released at. There is no such thing as $1,000 Pokemon box yet at release. It eventually can get there over time, but not at release. So yeah, are we scanning $100 Pokemon box? I mean, maybe. I don't know, but I don't think so. And
I think it just all comes down to the price point that you're playing in. And I think at least most of the stuff that we're buying is not at that price point level where CT scanning makes sense. It's just not. Now, could it get there eventually? Maybe, because if it keeps building, it could get cheaper and more efficient, and maybe you can spend $10 and have a box scan. Now that's a whole different bag of cats.
And somebody might say, look, if I'm going to buy, I don't know, use any vintage box, whatever, or packs or whatever, do you feel comfortable with just what is it, the company, the BBCE or whatever the company that wraps, they look at it and then they put their stamp of approval on it? I mean, you might feel comfortable with that. For me, I can't spend huge money on a box with just, a third party saying like, yeah, the tape looks good. I can't do that.
Did the golden one sell yet that they CT scanned? Or is that up for auction now?
Oh, I haven't been following it. I'll have to take a look. I don't know.
I forgot about that because Golden scanned that one I think it's a first edition Chinese box or something.
To verify it, yeah.
I don't remember if that actually sold yet or if the auction is currently right because their premier auctions I think run for a month, don't they?
I think so.
Or a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I don't stay on top of Golden stuff that much.
Kenny's gonna be in your DMs.
Yeah, sorry, Kenny. Not.
How you doing, McCracken?
If it ain't Hakes, if it ain't REA, if it ain't Pristine, I ain't interested. The show can start now. Steve is in the house. Vintage Card Collector has announced. Steve, how we doing?
Hey, good. How you doing?
What bad NBA takes do you want to get off your chest before we get?
Any thoughts on Luka?
Yeah, he's playing like shit.
I think actually he has started off slow, hasn't he?
He's had his first two.
Anthony Davis,
probably his worst 2 games of the year, probably.
Steve was right. Steve was right.
He can't break 15 points. It doesn't seem like.
The Mavericks won the trade.
Let's just say his average score per game has gone down.
Buster Chester.
Anthony Davis is right now is 0.
Hey,
so,
but we talked about this. We said his running stats might take a hit, right? Didn't we say that his running stats might take a hit?
Who?
We said his running stats may take a slight hit, right?
Who, Luka or
yeah, Luka.
Oh, I mean, look, he's got to gel with his team. I mean, LeBron went down to Miami in the first year they didn't win a title, and he was with Chris Bosh.
I didn't say he had to win a title. I'm talking about running stats.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, I'm like, there's going to be some chemistry that needs to occur. Anyway,
did you buy any Luka die cuts?
Steve loves die cuts.
Hey, I got a question.
Instead of flipping Steve,
why does PSA put die cut on the slab? That's crazy. They shouldn't do it if it's the same card.
If it's a die cut card? What do you mean?
Yeah, they just shouldn't label it as a die cut, right?
But it's a die cut.
Exactly. Thank you.
It won't sell as well if they put die cut on the label.
No, PSA label stuff has die cut because they differentiate between the two cards. In fact, I won that case with eBay, so it's whatever. At least in my eyes, I won it.
You scammed eBay.
Look at you.
No, they saw it from my side. They saw.
Here we go.
They saw. They understood.
Can't
They
read.
understood my complaint. They understood how it was misleading. Or how
I
it
just
could've been
I just interviewed the head guy at trading cards at eBay. I'm emailing him tomorrow.
Yeah,
and
but
getting this switch back around.
That interview posted the day after our last live stream, which made complete sense as to why you were defending eBay the whole time. As soon as that video posted, I was like, "That's goddamn!" Now it makes sense why Neo is defending eBay because he has an interview with the guy from the trading cards. That's why you couldn't say anything bad about eBay that night.
That interview happened after. That interview was the next. I recorded that interview the next day.
That's what I said. It came out the next day after our live stream.
It was 2 days after. We were on Wednesday. I recorded it on Thursday. It went up on Friday.
Well, I pay the extra.
That's why I just got, according to my comments, I just got 12 out of 12 PSA 10s because I interviewed Nat Turner.
I know. That's what I thought.
They have your address on file. They know
He's
you.
my group submitter.
I just didn't comment. I just didn't comment, but I thought that your gem rate went up pretty good too.
Brad, I would if this is PSA that got into this game, I would consider it. I don't really need this. I'm not buying a bunch of sealed product. I don't have loads of sealed product, and the stuff I do have is not kind of like what Neo said. I'm not buying really expensive sealed product, so I probably wouldn't need it. But if PSA came out with it, I don't think
it could be expensive product if you hold it for 20 years.
Right. But I'm buying it at a low enough price where I'm not concerned. Whereas if I'm buying a 20-year-old box, I'm worried about it.
I do think at some point in time, I don't know who will be first, but I just have to imagine at some point in time we see graded wax.
Yes.
100%.
It might be years from now because I'm sure it would be pretty complex because of the holders and the different sizes and also to this comment's point, how do you authenticate that what's inside the box is actually legit
Without scanning it.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
So you mean like graded like boxes?
Yeah, because a lot of people are like right now with Pokemon booster boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are paying a premium for boxes that are in like super minty condition,
minty fresh boxes. Yeah,
versus ones that maybe are a little banged up or the seal's not quite as tight or maybe it got stacked funny or whatever.
Well, like I said, they already grade individual packs, so just upping at the boxes would just be the next level up.
I know how to fix this actually. If you seal every box with a glitter bomb inside of it, so as soon as you break the seal, poof! Well, it's been broken open now.
I actually have a PSA question. I have a PSA card that has a deactivated
serial number.
The certificate number. The serial number was deactivated. I was just going through my cards and checking them all on PSA's website, and when I put in this, I bought it. I think I bought it on a Discord channel, a vintage Discord channel.
You got scammed.
You got
it's not even that big of a card. It's my 57 Topps Frank Robinson, which is a PSA 5. It's not even that big of a card, like maybe a $300 card.
That's how they get you, Steve.
There's probably got video of taking a bath and some Kirch juice on.
That baby's been
I can't remember. I can't remember if when I bought it, if I checked the cert number or not. So I can't remember if I don't know. So I don't know how long this has been deactivated. I may have bought it and it may have already been deactivated.
Let me finish.
Contact CSA. They should PSA guarantee that.
Let me just finish with Brad's question here too. I want to just say, if PSA is only grading the outside of the box and not authenticating the contents with CT scanning, I would not be interested in that service. I would want it to be like, we scanned it. This is the stuff inside is the stuff. And so they're authenticating it, offering a guarantee. That's how I would use the service. If it's just strictly like, yeah, it's a minty box, we give it a 9, but it's like, like trading card, where it's like it might be a fake card, but they'll put a whatever grade on the auto or whatever. No. They would have to do both. I'd want to see that they scanned it. So anyway, go ahead, Steve.
Oh no, I mean I'm glad I figured this out for myself on my own and didn't like list this card for sale or consign it or something like that.
Is that an old holder?
It's mid-level. So they used to have nothing. and now they have the lighthouse. But remember, in the middle, there for a
That's
while,
like the silver sticker.
silver one, yeah. So it is what it is. I mean, like you did say, they, I guess they'll stand behind it being authentic. If I was to like reach out,
I should. I would. When you look up the cert number, I think there's actually directions on what to do.
It says if you
Call
think it's
or
an error,
email.
re-enter it, and then it says or contact customer support. Now I only did it from my phone app, so I don't want to go through all the customer support bullshit on my phone.
I think
So
it's
I'll go
just
to the
literally
website.
emailing them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll go to the I'll go to the website later and check it out and see. But yeah, it's just kind of caught me off guard. For it to be that card is a little bit surprising because it's not a super valuable and it's not a super high grade. Like it's a 5. It's not like it's an 8.
Yeah.
Like what's that go for? Is it even $100 card? I have no idea.
Yeah, it's like a $300 or $400 card, maybe. Maybe it could push 5 based on eye appeal because the Frank Robinsons have like snow. So and they're off centered. So if you can get a 5 that has got a clean surface, it's not snowy looking, kind of like the Jim Brown had a snowy surface, kind of like that, then they do draw a little bit of a premium.
It probably had snow and was probably off center before it got curtsed up.
It could have. Yeah, but I'm going to guess that this card was probably graded before Kurtz was a thing. I mean, there might have been other stuff.
Card cleaning existed when that card was
well,
graded.
yeah, I know that, but most people think
Kurt's grandpa's juice.
Most people think Kurt invented it.
Kurt Senior
juice.
Kurt Senior.
Oh well.
Kurt Senior. Papa Kurt.
Grandpa Kurt popped up.
Papa Kurt.
That's awesome. Oh, do we have a place at the National Ham?
Yes.
So it was accepted?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. The national nightmare is over.
Woo! We got a place to stay. All right.
I feel like
as of last night, travel time, it was 8 minutes. Obviously, during the event, it would take longer based on what time you leave, but it's basically the same road that goes up to the Donald J. Stevenson Center. It's the same road we take back to the house. The house is on the main road, but it's we're not going to be there but to sleep and shower.
Now, which direction? The casino direction? I remember my first year at Chicago National, we stayed in a hotel that was a little ways away down by the casino.
So you walk out of the convention center, you take a right, and it's 8 miles out.
No, you go out of the convention. I guess you take a left.
Yeah.
Oh, it's left out of the convention center.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The casino is to the right, then I believe.
That's better than right, I think.
Yeah, because the Dunkin' Donuts is like 2 or 3 blocks from the house, and then
there's
another
a Red
block
Lobster.
and a half is a McDonald's, a BB, like gas station.
There's a Red Lobster, which I thought they went out of business, but apparently
not up there.
we're
gonna have to figure out a night to lock in our 4-hour dinner without Dustin.
Can we make reservations? Can we make reservations now?
Yeah. Hey, you guys,
Probably.
are you guys coming back soon? Yeah, we'll be back soon. 5-hour dinner.
Speaking of dinner,
that place was legit good.
the most overrated thing. Now, this isn't me saying it was bad because it was good, but the most overrated thing I had, because I just got back from New York this morning, was John's of Bleecker Street Pizza.
Was it good?
I was expecting this like life-changing pizza was going to be so good, and like I've really been on a diet, so I've even been like craving some pizza. And like we were going to order pizza at my house like a week or two ago, and I was like, nope. I'm saving pizza for New York, right?
Saving those calories.
So we go, and it's good. It's really, really good pizza. I'm not saying that it's bad, but I was expecting. I really don't know what I was expecting. I guess I was just expecting. Maybe it was so hyped up that it couldn't live up to it.
That's the problem. Bleecker Street Pizza is good, but it gets so hyped that you're like, your expectations are up here, and it's impossible. There's nothing they can do.
So hold on a second. Why is it so hyped? I don't understand because
I don't know. Well,
it's Portnoy is #1 on his
right.
Oh, it's Portnoy's. Oh, yeah. Okay.
I mean, he doesn't own it, but that's his like #1 spot on his pizza rankings.
Oh,
yeah, he even had his ranking thing hanging in there at little 9.2 or whatever.
Is it the same people as Bleecker Trading? Bleecker
on the same street. Bleeker's the street.
Bleeker's the street.
Oh, it's not the. Okay, I thought it was Bleecker Trading had a pizza joint attached to it.
No, so there is a Bleecker Street Pizza that's just called Bleecker Street Pizza, and it's supposed to be really, really good also. But then there's a one that's called John's of Bleecker Street. It's not. It's so don't get the two confused. We walked by a place called Joe's that looked amazing. People were standing outside eating slices there. That's
Joe's is hyped because Joe's was in Spider-Man.
Okay.
Just go to
And
Vezzo.
then,
Don't go to all
I
the-
did go to Bleecker
Joe's
Street
is
Trading.
good.
go to
Joe's is
Vezzo.
like your classic, like $2 slice of pizza, like New York street pizza.
I did go to Bleecker
That's what I'm
Street
talking
Trading
about.
because we left the pizza place, and I was like,
It's right around
this
the
is
corner.
if this is really close, yeah, it was literally a 3-minute walk on Google Maps. So I went in there. I thought it was a way bigger store than it was, and they were having like some sort of trade night going on with pizza. I don't know where they got the pizza from, but maybe they cooked it in the back. But
Pizza.
and so it was really crowded with like a lot of kids, and they were playing music and stuff in there. But I didn't do a whole lot. I bought a. Funny thing is, I bought a
Box of Panini one.
I bought a mega box of Prism football. And then this morning I'm on the train coming back, and I'm like, let's check out some YouTube. And I see Neo's video. Neo's video pops up that said these things kind of suck, and I'm like, well, God, why did this video come out before I bought this mega box?
To really start asking us before you buy things.
So I'm like, maybe I should.
At
rip this
least
here.
it was a $60 mega box and not a $500.
Yeah,
premium
so yeah, then I'm like, maybe I should rip this here on the train, and then I'm like, you know what? After watching Neo's video, I was like, I'm not even going to open this. It's going home. It's put it in the closet. And you know what's funny? I've done that with so much retail wax.
sitting right here.
I've done that with so much wax, and when I went to put it away in my closet, I saw all these mega boxes and blasters and stuff that I had bought that I didn't even remember that I had. They're just piled up in there. I got a bunch of like Optic and Select basketball from last year, the Wemby year. I have a bunch of like Optic Megas and Optic blasters and a couple Select blasters from the Wemby basketball year that I just put those away because I don't do basketball cards, but I know his stuff's come down. But anyway, and then of course being gone for the last couple of days, I had a ton of mail when I came home, so I've opened all this stuff. This is all stuff.
Anything cool?
Well, all of it's raw except this one here. Yeah, it's all cool, Ham. I don't buy shit. So
Whatever.
Any die cut?
That's why you kept all those cards
I buy die
underneath your
cuts.
staircase for 2 years.
Die cuts, print lines, chipped corners. That's the type of shit I'm looking for.
All your Justin Fields.
No Justin Fields. No. I said in my video that I hit on him last year, and so I wasn't going back to the well again. I'm a man. I do what I say. I don't just
Gotta get him before you go to the Jets.
And I would only grab his cards if they like fell into my lap, like in a super good deal. Now I got the GOAT Sammy D here. You guys saw this in a text message. I just had to buy this because it was so cheap.
You went back to the well on Sam Darnold.
No, I haven't. Like I said,
they let you buy him back.
Like I said, I haven't written off anybody if the deal is right. Like if I feel like a card is an absolute, man, I gotta buy that because I could instantly relist it and make $20. And that's what I'll do. So like this. This is another Sam Darnold, but it's a select white prism, right? It was numbered out of 75. I bought this card raw for $10.
Oof.
I put this in a nice new mag or in a nice shiny top loader and throw it on a table at trade night. I'll sell it for 20. You know, I make a quick $10 and I'll buy Michael Ham's McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so I mean, it just I'm not going out looking for Sam Darnold, but or I have the option to also grade this. There is one listed right now in the PSA 10 for $350. Listings don't mean sales. I get it, but
a $10 card. Though,
you know, if it's a $10 card, if I grade it to 10,
what's a 980?
Probably 8.
There's not any sales really.
It's 300 and then a 9's 25.
But I mean, $10, I just couldn't go wrong. I mean, if he stays with the Vikings, he's going to get hyped, and if he gets moved, he's going to get hyped.
He'll go to the New Orleans Saints.
I don't know if he'll play good like he did last year. I'm not saying he's going to light the world on fire,
but he'll have
a really good season.
He just choked at the end.
And a hyper prism already graded for me. I think I paid $70. Like, you know, I can throw $100 price tag on that and sell it.
Oh, Buster's about to head to bed, but he asked Steve any updates on the National Givey. He has to wake up at 4:40.
Buster is entered because Buster was drawn randomly out of my comments. He was my first entry, along with Lebowski sports cards. So that's 2 out of the 12 that have been entered, and we got to get the other 10 going. I'm really going to start pushing it heavily once I get the Daisy stickers made, which Ham has worked on a design. I've just been really busy, and I've had a lot of crazy stuff happen, unexpected stuff happen. I should still be in New York, right? I was supposed to stay in New York again tonight and come home tomorrow. So, yeah, unexpected phone call this morning from my mom. So I had to find the first train back from New York home. And now I got a whole lot of stuff that just fell into my lap. Basically, like you guys know, my stepdad passed away this morning. Mm-hmm. He has been in my family since I was a freshman in high school. So, 35 plus years. He's my daughter's pop-up, right? Even though he's my stepdad, like she was raised as his pop-up. So my daughter was really devastated more so. Problem is my mom's not super well off as far as getting around and things like that. So all this power of attorney stuff like now falls into my hands. And there's a lot of things that I got to get ready to do. That's not even got a whole lot to do with me. It's stuff that I got to take care of for my mom because she can't get out and do it.
Yeah.
Bank accounts and property and things. I mean, the thing is, they own about 25 acres of land. So it's like all this stuff's just falling into my lap. So yeah, but it is what it is. One life, Michael Ham.
That's right. That's how we roll.
We'll get it all taken care of and we'll get going. We'll get back on track. So,
yep. That's the truth.
Life is short.
Mm-hmm.
Short. All right, boys. What is next? What is the next topic that we should hit on?
So I know, I don't know if you've noticed that Topps is doing a rip night again, finally again, for their product. It's happening this weekend for pretty much every shop that's having some type of representation through Topps. And a lot of the shops are going to have special guests at the stores. The one that's down the street from mine is going to have Anthony Volpe from the Yankees, Ron Guidry, Austin Wells, and there's one more older Yankee that's going to be there. And I don't know if y'all been to the shop down the street from my house. It's not very big. And this is supposed to go from 4 to 8, and then the appearances are supposed to be between 6 and 7. So I'm not sure how that's going to work out there. I'm going to go to it. I'm going to try and get there early. I don't know how early. I'm not going to go 2 hours and wait in line because there will be a line to try and sit in the store versus sit out of the store because he's going to pretty much mark off parking spaces and put tables and tents outside. Thank God the weather will be nice, so it's not going to be hot. But I'm looking forward to it. I've got a couple of the other card guys that are in the community. I don't know if you know who Lou Rock is. He'll be over there as well, which next month, Mangini will be in town. So we're planning on going to his show and have some dinner or lunch somewhere and hang out for like a half a day. So that would be cool too. But I noticed Layton is having Tiffany Stratton at theirs. There's big names scattered all over the place for this. It's just interesting at what stores are getting certain players is really where I've noticed.
So I've got one here locally for me too. Cardiacs in North Carolina, where I am. They've got a rip night, but I have no idea who the guests are. I should probably look into that to see if it's.
I don't know that every shop has guests.
Not every shop that has guests.
Oh,
and that's where, like in Tampa
I
Bay,
think a lot of location based.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to check it out.
No. New York, David Adams in New York is having Ruben, David Ortiz, and somebody else. I don't remember who the third one was. It was another big name. A lot of them, they had said, Mike Mahan said on the Blabbing About Slabbing interview that he did last week, so Arizona and Florida get a heavy load because of spring training.
Yeah. Right.
Like the guys are already there. They're not really doing anything yet. So it's
Tampa and Sarasota, like Sarasota's got the Pirates, Tampa's got the Yankees. Like I feel like there's like 5 teams down there. And
there is. Well, we have the Blue Jays, the Phillies,
baseball players, and if you're in Florida or Phoenix, for sure. I don't know. 2 of my local shops are doing one. 101's doing one. They had John Kenzie Noel last year, big Christmas for the winter one. I wish I would have went to that one. And then I think the other shop, All Pro in Cuyahoga Falls, is not having a guest, but I could be wrong on that. A lot of shops just started announcing what they're doing like the last couple of days.
Baseball Card Clubhouse in Tampa. It's in South
Okay.
Tampa.
I was going to ask, Tampa Card Shop's not your local shop.
No, Baseball Card Clubhouse is the one that's 2 blocks from my house.
Yeah, but isn't Bryant off of like Tom Maybury?
No, he's off North Florida. He's like in North Tampa.
Is he in Lutz?
Not that far north.
Oh, okay.
Tampa has so many different stages of places now. It's kind of
Oh, I
ridiculous.
know. I used to live there. I know, man.
I went to Tampa Card Shop when I was in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I went to Madeira Beach. Well, St. Pete, right? So when I was in St. Pete, we come over to the shop because I wanted to make it a point to stop by and see Bryant and stuff.
Yep.
So it was like, but I don't know. I guess in relation to where I was at, how far it is, because there did seem to be some other card shops
for Tops. He didn't get allocation either.
Yeah, I know at the time he didn't get allocation because he was
he
showing
still
me
doesn't.
everything
I
at the
mean,
store.
because you have KK Sports Cards, which is one of the biggest whatnot breakers in Florida for sure, and group submitters. He doesn't have anybody coming to his shop because he opened a store up about a year ago in St. Pete. We've had probably 5 or 6 shops open up since you were last here, but they're all scattered all around the area. So it's just like.
Well, there was some out in St. Pete when I was there, but I didn't get a chance to go.
There's 5 or 6 in the St. Pete area now. Another one just opened up in North Tampa as well, and then another one opened in Brandon.
It's like I didn't look up any while I was in New York just now. I don't know if there was any within the area I was staying at. I just know
actually like in New York City proper. There's Bleecker, there's David Adams now, and I think there's one other one. Real estate's too expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I would have only went.
Yeah, New York City. I mean, New York in general, but New York City, my God.
Yeah, I can only imagine what David Adams' pop-up store is in the Empire State Building. I can only imagine what that costs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we didn't make it there.
Yeah, it's on the first floor, I believe, of Empire State, and that's not their permanent store. That's like a temporary thing till their main one's done.
No, I mean, we walked it a lot. We walk all the way from uptown, then the Natural History Museum, all the way back to Times Square, which is a bit of a walk. Like, we took the subway there, but we could have taken the subway back, but we just wanted to walk and see stuff. And
given your ease of train access, will we see you at Fanatics Fest in June?
It's just about being able to get the time off. I mean, it's easy for me to get into New York, or it's easy for me to get into Penn Station, which Penn Station, if you're familiar with New York City,
Penn Station is like
right next to Madison.
It's
it's right next to Madison Square Garden.
Yep.
So,
you can walk from Penn Station to Javits in like 10 minutes, and it's all downhill.
Now, is it uptown from Madison Square Garden or downtown from Madison Square Garden?
It's neither. It's west.
Okay.
It's like dead even with Madison Square Garden. Just head towards the river, head towards Jersey.
When is Fanatics Fest again?
The last weekend in June, I think.
Yeah, it would all depend. I know Jen said something about wanting to go back when the weather was warmer, but we want to go back. But that I'm aiming more towards the fall or the fall, as opposed. I don't want to go when it's hot. Like, I don't want to go when it's like.
If you go to Fanatics Fest, Jen and Erica can hang out.
We'll see what's up.
Because Erica goes and she usually bums around the city by herself.
You're right. I'm paying for a night right now. I'm paying for a night in a hotel that I'm not even using. I told them I had to check out a day early because I had a death in the family, and they were just like, okay, well, here, give me your key cards. They weren't even like, oh, well, we'll give you back the price of the room or anything because I paid up front. No, they charged me for it all.
Steve's like, I thought it was a die. I didn't realize it was a die cut room. I didn't know it was like the shape of a die cut.
Yeah. But they refunded Amtrak refunded my train tickets for tomorrow. So even because I had to buy train tickets to come back today, so my train return ticket for tomorrow was refunded.
Oh, that's cool.
But it doesn't cost much money for one round trip ticket for me from Wilmington, Delaware to New York City is $40. So.
See, for Fanatics Fest, you could almost just go for the day and not even spend the night if you wanted to.
Yeah, I could. And I mean, that's just round trip. So Wilmington's literally an hour ride.
I can tell you right now, hotels for Fanatics Fest are.
All right, I'm going to tell a card pickup story. I'm going to shift gears here.
Go ahead. I got a whole bunch.
So Flipping Steve, I think it might have been after the last off-centered show 2 weeks.
Did you buy that card? I never even knew if you did or not.
We got a story here.
Oh, so I guess you did, because I heard you say you had a story about something you bought. You already said I bought a card. You said it before in the beginning of the live stream.
Just mute him. You have the power to mute him.
Forget the story. No, okay. So literally 2 weeks ago, after the Off-Centered show, Steve was like, "Hey, there's a card. Like this card popped up, and Steve has the same card. There's two different versions. One is 1 out of 7,000 packs. There's another version that's 1 out of 27,000 packs. And the 1 out of 27,000 packs popped up on eBay. There's another one on eBay that's like $3,200 or something, and this one popped up at $1,750. $1,750 OBO. And Steve, I think, had got his for less than $1,000 or something like that. So I was talking to him. I put in a bid at $1,250. This was 2 weeks ago, Wednesday night. $1,250. 23 hours and 39 minutes went by because it's a 24-hour offer. And then he declined it. So then I put in another offer at $1,350. 23 hours and 47 minutes went by, and the guy declined it. Then I messaged Steve, and he's like, you shouldn't go higher than. I messaged the guy, and the guy's like, hey, I already have two other offers at $1,500. So I reached out to Steve, and I told him, and he's like, he's bluffing. Offer him $1,500. So I offered him $1,550. 23 hours and 59 minutes goes by, and I get a declined offer. So I reached out to him, like, hey man, I'm at $1,550 and you're asking $1,750 OBO. What do we have to do? Like, we're right there. I can't get to $1,750. It was just a matter of like, I wanted to get some sort of a deal on it. I didn't want to pay the full bin. And he's like, I just want to be closer to my ask. Like, I want to just be closer to, I'm like, we're fucking $200 off from the ask. We're not that far off. And so I put in one more bid I think it was my last bid at $1,650. The guy's asking $1,750 OBO at $1,650. 23 hours and 32 minutes goes by, and it's gone. He takes it off of eBay. So I don't get a decline. The card's just gone. And like 3 days later, I was texting the group, and I'm like, damn it, I should have just hit the stupid bin, at $1,750, because it's a card that I wanted. But it's like one of those things, like, you don't want to pay full price. You want to feel like you got some sort of a deal.
Well, when you see OBO, you get that feeling, right?
Yeah, you're like, hey, and I don't know if I've ever had that happen where I've gone. Well, I don't think I ever have. I don't know. So anyway, I don't know. A week goes by, 10 days goes by. I'm starting to forget about the card. Still in the back of my mind, lingering. It's still kind of like I got a cramp on my side. I can't quite figure out what it is. It's that card. Well, the stupid thing pops back up on eBay. Same exact card, 2,500 OBO. Like, you son of a bitch. So
get you.
And then like probably 3 hours after, and I sent it to Steve and everybody. I was like, and then like 3 hours after that, he sends out an offer at 2,300. And I sent him, it was 2,500 OBO. I sent him a message. I sent him an offer at 1,750 and a message saying, hey, I'll pay the bin that you put up 2 weeks ago. I'll pay the bin. He never responds to me. And it's sitting at 2,300. I'm like, fuck this dude. Like, I'm not buying. I'd rather buy the other one at $3,000. I'll pay an extra $700 and get the other one just to like not buy this guy's card.
This poor guy's probably like a critical doctor that works 22 hours a day. It's 5 minutes once a day with eBay stuff.
This is literally Kevin Spacey in that movie 7. I'm probably going to get a box with a card in it with a severed hand. That's probably what's going to happen.
So I'm guessing he really didn't want to sell the card.
He probably didn't want to sell the card. So then it pops up all of a sudden, like, I don't know, maybe like 12 hours later, it's $2,000 OBO. But I'm done. I'm not offering him anymore. I'm not selling more offers.
You're out of offers.
Well, it was a new listing, so I've got 5 fresh new offers. Five fresh new offers for this guy. And it's at 2,000, and I messaged the group, and I was like, if he sends out an offer that's anything lower than 2,000, and Ham's like, what if it's 1999? Whatever, Ham.
If I was the guy, 100% would have set on an offer that was like 1998 and 99 cents.
Or he should have just sent me messages like, you're never gonna get this. You're never gonna get this.
He was just fishing it, man.
He was fishing it. So he sent out an offer at $1,850, and I snatched it up at 1850, which after tax tag title, it's closer to the 2000 that he had it at. Yeah. So this is the card. Stephen King, according to Steve, and I trust Steve, I know he would never lie to me. This is the only Stephen King pack pulled autograph card in any set. It's from 2017, Upper Deck Goodwin Champions, and it's the more rare version of the card.
No,
I'm a horror movie freak, so this is one of those non-sports grails. Go ahead, Steve.
No, it says Mellow Braun. That's his eBay.
No wonder.
He's a basketball card collector.
No wonder. Well, and he's got 5,000 feedbackers and 100% feedback. 100% feedback.
Yeah.
What are you going to do when this fails eBay authenticity guarantee?
I don't know.
That's the next. We all know that's where the story ends, right? Dustin's going to get the email in 2 days. Dear sir or madam, we noticed that you purchased this card. It has X, Y, and Z issues.
Dude, it's gonna go back to him, and then it's gonna, I don't know, I'll see it at like the National.
They're like, this one's printed.
There'll be like a dart in my neck, and I'll be just like dragged off somewhere. So
with the way we lose you at the National, we won't even know you're gone.
Yeah, well, glad Dustin disappeared again.
It happens. It's like Fire Festival out there. So that's it. Another non-sport grail, knocked it down. Steve introduced me to the card.
So yeah, I'll show mine real quick.
I'm actually wondering, is this Steve?
I got the different version.
Okay,
you gotta zoom it in.
He's got the color version.
Let me stop sharing here. All right, so.
Oh yeah, with the guitar.
Yeah.
Yours actually, I think, looks a little bit better from like an aesthetic. It's actually got color.
This one tends to be the preferred image because there's a middle one.
It's a nicer image.
But the other one, the silver one, is more rare. The silver one, the one that you bought, it's tougher to find the autograph really clean because he signs it in one of those like silver, almost like a paint type pen. So it gets really streaky. I've seen some really bad autos on that one.
Yeah, the other one that's like $3,000. Yeah, the other one that's on eBay that's like $3,000. That's part of the issue is the auto is a little bit streaky. So it's like,
where do you think Larry David autograph settles? We've already had a few sales.
They're going for like $3,000, aren't they?
Yeah, I talked about it today.
It's 32, I think.
Yeah, it's selling more than it's like the highest paid card on the secondary market. Larry David autos. Watch my video.
And that's it. Like, it's like he has a bunch of pack pulled autos floating around out there.
I got a PC card too. That's a little quicker story than Dustin's, but it was a card.
You hear about that?
Well,
the Old Testament is a quicker story than most of those.
Yeah. So
I had to build it up. I was doing a lot with
talking about the Luca trade was quicker.
Yeah, right. I was doing a lot with the Game of Thrones.
You guys love that story.
This time last year, I had sold most of my Game of Thrones stuff, but the one Game of Thrones card I'd never gotten was
that Stephen King horror movie called The Chase.
The Chase. I had never gotten the George R.R. Martin auto because it was a dealer incentive. Dealers had to order. They had to order a certain amount of cases in order to get the George R.R. Martin card delivered to them with their Game of Thrones boxes. And I'm going to guess that wasn't a super popular product when it came out. So not a lot of dealers were buying enough to get the incentive card. And then when you do find them, they got really high buy it nows. Nobody ever puts them at auction. But I was able to get one off at auction about a week or so ago. And it's the now it comes sealed with like a gold seal over it, dealer incentive thing. Somebody had taken this one and got it graded a PSA 9, which I'll take. But the autograph's clean on this one too, and I have a bad glare. But this one finally added to the PC. I did post it on Instagram if you follow me over there. So now I have George R. Martin, I have a R.L. Stein, and I have the Stephen King. So I have the Stephen King now, the R.L. Stein from Allen and Ginter, and the George R.R. Martin. So that's like three of the writers.
That's cool.
Autos that I have.
What's the Martin go for? Like
it all depends because people list them at like $700 and $800, but sometimes people will buy them now. I got my auction, I think, a little under 500. So it's a cool one that I share with my wife because she and I watched Game of Thrones together. So it's a cool card to be like, hey, check it. Like, it's a card that she thinks is cool too, right? Like a lot of my stuff that I buy, like she does not think Sam Darnold Hyper Prisms are cool. But she thinks George R.R. Martin autograph card is really cool.
What about Undertaker Kane dual autos?
She would think that was cool. She thinks CM Punk is cool.
What about die cuts? My wife loves CM Punk too.
Really?
My wife does not care about wrestling at all. She's annoyed by it. We're watching the Royal Rumble. I have it on while we're in bed. And CM Punk comes on the screen and she sits up straight up in bed because she knows like that's like the one wrestler that she knows.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know what it is about wives and CM Punk. It must be
yeah.
like
So next time you break into the
gray,
bedroom,
the gray beard.
Card in the bedroom.
yeah. Next time you throw the door to the bedroom open, you need to hit that cult of personality.
No, I hit the Joe Henry music and do the double clap turn around.
Oh, I thought you had hit it with either the boy toy, Shawn Michaels boy toy, or the CM Punk cult of personality. Anyway, I've gotten 4 different CM Punk golds that I'm going to grade.
My wife might buy one of those.
Hey, you own the market share. You should burn all of those.
Hey, the Nationals in Chicago, guys. CM Punk stuff will move at trade nights and stuff. Everybody's going to be taking their Caleb Williams, who might get a premium in Chicago, and their Cubbies and things like that. CM Punk is huge in Chicago.
Auto.
Who is that, Ham?
Carmen Petrovic.
Ham kisses that before he goes to bed every night.
Yeah.
That's
This
Ham.
one's
That's
cool
Ham's
too, but-
lipstick.
This one's cool too because it's got just a bunch of the up and coming female wrestlers, and then it's also got Stratton and
good term of words you use there, Ham.
Female.
yeah, you know how I do.
Say what, female wrestlers saved wrestling. That's for sure. I don't think I need to use the Jeff Wilson cut, the take the card and put it in the sleeve is an all-time classic, Maccabi Shop. I don't know if I need to change it. Maybe I add to it. I could certainly add to it and add a few more in there, but take the card and put it in the sleeve is a banger. Or put it in the sleeve. Put it in the sleeve.
Yeah. You know, they always talk about everybody collecting the sweaty men. I collect the sweaty women.
Well, no, so. I'm finding I'm doing my my QB flips, my QB purchases and things, but I'm finding some other avenues. Like you guys saw, I bought the Cody Rhodes and the Stone Cold gold prisms.
Brendan Ryan knows where it's at.
It's kind of there's a little bit of a opportunity to buy nice raw graded wrestling singles of the popular.
Oh yeah, the main guys. Well, this year I think they have different versions of the card as well. And
there's a market for that, and it's a collector's market, which is always key. A lot of people who are buy wrestling card. Like if I was to grade all these, I'm going to guess 90% of the buyers are going to be end collectors, as opposed to someone looking to buy a wrestling card and reflip it. Yeah, and the collectors don't go out and buy a lot of singles and tend to grade them themselves. They like to buy it already done, and they like to know what they're getting. And so this is an opportunity that I feel like, not that I've just found, because there's other people I'm sure that do it, but I saw like a little opportunity here to do the dirty work and make some money. So that's what I'm doing with these wrestling cards. But I'll probably do a video on this, but I can't do the video on it too soon because I end up messing myself up. But I found a couple cards. You know, ideally when you buy to grade and flip, you want PSA 9s to at least equal your raw card value, or your raw card and your grading fee.
Well, raw usually outsells 9s now.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. You want a 9 to kind of equal your initial investment, your raw card and your grading price, at least a majority of it. You know, if you buy a card for $80 and pay $20 to get it graded and you're in $100, you want to hope that a 9 is going to at least cover $90, right?
Yeah.
And then your 10s is where you're going to make your money. So if you can get 110 for every couple of 9s, you'll do okay. If you can really get some nice 10s, you'll do really, really well.
Yeah.
But I've searched the market for cards that actually make you money on 9s, and I found 2 nice ones that are pretty popular cards that are selling with high liquidity, of a high liquidity player.
Oof.
And I'm finding
that is.
And I'm finding that buying them raw, and even 9s are even giving you like a 50% return.
It's obviously Drew Brees.
And,
all right,
and
I'm going to answer for everybody here. I don't think any of us buy custom cards that are actor on card autos. I could be wrong, but I think that we
I don't
usually
do
go
custom. No.
we go licensed on cards.
I like a lot of them because let's face it, they're never going to make them. And
Don't
if they
say
do,
that, Ham. Don't say that. They are going to make them. We're
like
calling
for the TV series I used to watch Chuck, they're not making a Chuck TV series card set. So the ones that people make customs that are fantastic, they go to these guys that do these big shows where they send guy to, you know, get autographs for you, and then they sell them. And half the time it's cheaper to buy it from them than it would be for me to even go to the show or pay for the autograph at the show, let alone have to obtain the card. So
yeah,
it's like,
I guess it depends. Yeah.
yeah, that's what I mean.
guess
There are
like
certain guys now that do such a good job that I would rather have that flawless looking card of an actor signed than hope to God in the next 5 years I see one from a manufacturer. We're waiting for something that for some reason they don't want to touch.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I just saw Gas has, I don't know if you remember the late night show host Craig Ferguson with the girls and stuff. Gas just had him sign a bunch of cards and they're releasing a card of him, or it's already actually on the website. So
the thing about or with me with custom cards is that I would rather just get the autograph on something else that's a actual piece of memorabilia or a photo or something, as opposed to a cut that's put on to a custom card. That's me personally.
Drives me nuts because they'll buy a photo, cut it, put it in a card, and then it's worth $1 bazillion. So I don't. That drives me nuts because, like for instance, Mickey Mantle has 1 billion autographs out there. Okay, and yeah, there's a bunch of fakes, but there's 1 billion of them on a photo. And then Panini will buy it, cut it, put it in a cut card, and now it's worth $2,000 when you couldn't get 200 for it before. Like photos are kind of a joke because nobody displays them anymore.
Yeah, but I think it's the pack pulled aspect, like I think Neo was about to say.
Yeah,
it's just something about a card collector and pack pulled autos. Like,
yep.
It's always the thing. Like you can find
but if you were going back to the licensing part of it, all they did was bought a previously autographed thing.
Right. If I got this autographed by Stone Cold Steve Austin and had Beckett slab it authentic, it might be $100 card. But if this was a pack, if it was a pack pulled auto of this, it's probably a $400 or $500 card. That's just the way the market works with that. But right now, when you start talking about actors and sports, because you pulled out Mickey Mantle in comparison to there is some things that you just can't get a pack pulled auto of because they don't make them. Like you said, the TV show.
I agree, and that's where I see the customs, and I would take a custom Robert Downey Jr. if it's on card.
I was going to use him as an example. Yeah, I wouldn't,
because I can't touch. I don't want to touch the other one.
He doesn't have a lot of options.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so you guys know that I'm an Al Pacino fan. Al Pacino does have some pack pulled autos, like in the Pop Century stuff. He does have some Don Russ stuff. He only has maybe one that's a pack pulled on card auto. Mm-hmm. Other than that on card auto, I would rather have something else nice of his signed than one of the sticker cards. Like I've showed you guys this when we brought that up. That's why I just went and got this out of my closet. Now, this is a certified PSA authentic auto. It's not a pack pulled auto. But again, to go back to price, I paid $300 for this at a card show. But his pack pulled autograph that's on card is more like $1,000 card.
Right.
Even though it doesn't look the signature or the photo doesn't look anything as good as this.
Correct.
But being a card collector, I would want the card. But with me, it's very specific to being pack pulled. Because if it's not a pack pulled card, then it's just an autograph like this.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But the thing is like most people don't have a pack pulled autograph that you'd want an autograph from them. And then if you do get one, it's a sticker, then you're upset that it's a sticker. So it's like my Chuck Norris that I have. My Chuck Norris is an on card. It's one of the few on card autographs you can get.
He's in
everything else is a sticker.
Like I saw
on Ginter on card this year.
On Pristine Auction, they had a Christian Bale signed Batman mask. And I was like, that's actually kind of cool. You know, like, and it wasn't like mega expensive. So it's like, I don't know if he has pack pulled autos, but it was like, that's kind of like a cool piece, you know, whatever that.
But that's a very displayable piece.
Yeah,
like,
whatever.
Instance, the thing Steve has, if they changed the case to where it didn't feel like it was like in a card case and you could display it almost like what they do with graded toys, Well, you know what I mean? It's in a display case. It doesn't look like it's this other thing. If they did something like that, I think that would be way bit more beneficial. That's why I don't like the slabs of like for magazines and stuff. It looks too much like a card, and for displayed, it looks weird. It just doesn't look right.
Well, like Beckett puts the little sticker on the back of things. You can get autographed stuff from Beckett where it's not in a big bulky case. Like,
but I mean, if we're talking about like a pack pulled thing or something like that too, or even an aftermarket, from a display standpoint,
this is actually on display
availability.
This is actually on display here in my movie room in my little off-centered. Hey, Neo, Ham, why aren't you guys on the off-centered?
I didn't even know that thing existed.
That was pre. I got that.
Wow, guys.
That was before we were the.
I see how these favoritism.
Dustin may have had these custom made, so he left you guys off. That's messed up.
Well, they weren't a part of the thing back then.
Oh, I was in the chat.
You were in it. You were not. They weren't on the show yet. We'll have to get a revised Four Horsemen stand-up displays custom label.
This
and then we're going to sell them at the National. We'll sell them at the National.
This is my Cheech and Chong now.
We'll put them in the upside down repacks.
Yeah, that's the chaser. That's a chaser, a redemption ticket for a stand-up display.
That's the Cheech and Chong has dual autos and like the Leaf Century stuff and all like that. But I would rather get this. This is a pack of papers from World War II era, and it's got the Beckett authenticity on the back.
That's something definitely fun. I agree.
So because their pack pulled stuff is all like sticker Leaf Pop Century stuff, they probably weren't even together. They probably weren't even together when they signed them. They probably just each signed a bunch of stickers and they slapped them together. And but that's me. That's personal. I'm not telling everybody else what to like.
Yeah, y'all do what you want to do.
Well, just like the Jay and Silent Bomb cards that just came out through EPAC, those are sticker autos.
Oh yeah, I saw those.
Yeah.
I saw those. It's funny that you say that because the only reason I saw them is because I remembered that I had an old Marvel sketch card on Upper Deck EPAC because when I bought it off eBay, I thought I was getting an actual card because I didn't even know what EPAC was. This was way back when we first were doing the Marvel cards more than 2 years ago. And I was like, that's a cool Doctor Strange sketch card. And it's from Exquisite. And I bought it. And then the guy's like, okay, I'm going to send you the code so you can get it electronically. And I'm like, did I just buy a freaking digital card? Like, I was kind of pissed. Kind of like, I thought I got die cut. Yeah, I thought I got die cut. So I'm like, I just bought a digital card. This sucks.
So every time your wife now, whenever something goes wrong, it's damn it, babe, we got die cut it again.
Die cut it. So, but then I realized that no, it is an EPAC card, but when I went to my inventory, I could have it sent home. And now I've just left it there for so long, and I haven't even been on that platform in like 2 years. I had to look up my account information, but it was still there. And so I was like, send home. And then they send it home through ComC, and it arrived really quickly. I posted it on Instagram because I just got it when I got home today. But it's a really cool. Not all sketches look awesome. Some of them,
most of them look like crap.
Some of them don't even look like the character they're drawing. But this one's really like nice and detailed. You can't see it as good on the camera, like how his fingers are and everything. It's just super cool. I don't know. I think it's neat, but it's been stowed away on EPAC for the last 2 years. I finally just got it sent home.
Boys, I think it's time to wrap. I want to say thank you to Brad for $12 in the super sticker bucket.
Oh, wow.
And keep my mind preoccupied with $2. Thank you very much. We're at the 90-minute witching hour. I'm going to turn into a pumpkin here pretty soon. So
which hour is it?
You got to go get your Blue Mountains off the deck.
I got to go. Exactly. Got to go get a silver bullet. 2 weeks from now, what do we have? We're like beginning of March time frame. We'll be 4 months out from the National, believe it or not. It sounds like Steve Ham and I are going to be holed up in an RV somewhere. So I'm sure that'll be great.
RV.
Guys.
RVD.
I still have one room available. It's a 4-bedroom house. So.
No, dude, it sounds awesome. I'm kidding. I'm excited for it. I'm excited. Any last words from anybody before we say bye?
Yeah, Dustin, make sure you bring plenty of Coke Zeros.
Right there at the last second. They came in on the last second. Oh, Ace. I don't know if you're a real human, Ace, but I've seen your comments, and man.
I like tag rating. I like what they're doing. And
I like what you're doing.
Tag bot ham bone.
We're really happy.
Listen, I mean, I know we're trying to close the show out, but they're going to be putting vending machines where I can walk up and put a card in, and it'll spit me out a graded card.
Just like they're supposed to be grading
What this
sticker
hobby's
cards any
missing.
day now.
Ham, you're not getting paid. You're showing up, and no, absolutely not allowed.
I think my videos drop tomorrow regarding some
you can
Mike Baker action and a little bit of tag action.
Throw your tag video together.
Future is real.
Hey, I had a tag
Let's see a
slab.
colony on Mars before we see tag grading pods.
I had a tag slab
Whoa! Shots
fall off
fired.
my counter onto my wood floor, and it cracked.
They've been saying for 2 years they're going to grade thicker cards. They still can't even grade a card pre-1990.
Any more trash talk before I hit end stream? Throw them in. Guys.
Luke is better than Anthony Davis.
Terminator's the future.
Steve?
Die cuts for life.
All right. We all got die cutted. Have a great week, everybody.
DC.
Talk to you later.
CD.